Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining me here for Get Into It with Taz and Chris. All right, we got a little midweek potpourri for y'all today. Starting off with, of course, an update on all things legal and all things Trump. Let's start with the co-defendants. All 19 of them they officially waived their appearance and pled not guilty. So nobody had to show up in court today. There was a hearing at 1 o'clock regarding the request of Powell and Cheeseborough to sever their trials from everybody else. And we're going to get into that in a minute. There were 4 others that also want their trials severed, but there was no mention of them today. Mark Meadows' legal team is fervently trying to distance themselves from Trump. But remember, Mark Meadows previously had disavowed his own book in order to make Trump feel better. But now here's the thing, and I kid you not, from these transcripts, Meadows is claiming that everything he did was just to keep from Trump yelling at him. Meadows, you are a grown man. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Trump can't move that fast, okay? Trump can't move that fast. Now, the big news of the day is Mr. Yusel Taveras. Who is that, you may ask? That is who everybody keeps referring to as the Mar-a-Lago IT guy. He realized that he may face perjury charges, so he fired the attorney that Trump hired for him and came clean to prosecutors, and he cut a pretty sweet deal. He's telling everything to avoid prosecution. And a name we have not heard in a while is Scott Perry. Mr. You can't take my phone? Well, an appellate court says now that the DOJ has limited access to his phone. But yeah, limited access still means they're going to get the goods that they're looking for. Now, today at the 1 o'clock hearing, the district attorney's office stated that the trial will take 4 months. And these estimates are if they try all 19 people at the same time. Keep that in mind. It would take 4 months, and a total of 150 witnesses would be called just by the district attorney's office. Now, today in court, Sidney Powell's attorney, y'all, this is the truth. This is really what was said in open court by an attorney. Claims that her crimes occurred on January 7th and in a different county. Not that she was innocent, but that what she did happened on January 7th in a different county, and that she doesn't know any of these other people.
Right. That sounds like...
Yeah. Maybe. Now, the judge did rule to sever Cheeseborough and Powell from everybody else, so it's looking like Cheeseborough and Powell right now will be tried together beginning October 23rd. There will be another hearing next week, and a lot of people are questioning why there's another hearing next week. The Judge McAfee, remember, he was just appointed in January of this year. He's going about this brilliantly because he even said in court today that he knows that the briefs are going to come. And keep in mind, the whole, I want to invoke my right to a speedy trial, because they were trying to call Fonnie Willis's bluff. Mm-hmm. If she cannot start on time, it's an automatic acquittal. Judge McAfee knows they're going to keep loading up the briefs, because if there's a delay, they get acquitted. So he said, no, instead of you stacking briefs up on my desk, we'll meet once a week. I will rule immediately and we'll keep it moving. He also said he's going to wait for the decision from the federal judge. Remember, Meadows is trying to get his case moved to federal court, and then he's trying to push for immunity before going there. But he said there's no way he's going to have 19 different trials because it's not fair to the witnesses, because let's not forget the mother-daughter duo. They're going to have to testify. They've already been under a great deal of scrutiny and gone through enough. The judge doesn't want to put them through that. And one of the attorneys argued that for the sake of economics and to conserve the time of the courts, yeah, you should sever us. Yeah, that's backwards. That's not how that works. Like
this is somebody that Amber had once hired. No.
I'm telling you. And then Cheeseborough's attorney who I think Cheeseburro's attorney just took his case because he's trying to get close to Trump, because he's giving you that Trump attorney bravado and trying to make a spectacle of it and everything. He said that Cheeseburro should just be excused because he's not a politician. What the hell does that have to do with this? And then he said, now let me remind you, they have not gone through discovery yet. The defense attorneys do not know the evidence that they're up against yet. We still haven't gotten to giving evidence over to the other side.
They know it's bad. They already know it's bad.
But this is his plan. And this is what he said in a press conference after the hearings. He said that he plans to file a directive verdict motion, which means he wants the judge to just acquit Cheeseburro as soon as the prosecution rests. So that means before he even presents a defense. And I'm looking at this attorney like, are you even working on a defense? Because he believes that the district attorney is not going to meet their burden. Fonnie Willis is a rock star when it comes to RICO cases. That would not be a thought in my mind if I was an attorney for anyone in this case right now.
That's right. We call that a RICO suave.
Now, do have a quick update, an additional update regarding the Mar-a-Lago dockets case, because we already talked about Tavares, and he has become a fully cooperative witness with the DOJ. He has a firm completed agreement with them. But a lot of people forget about Evan Cochran, who was a Trump attorney during all this election fraud stuff. Now, Evan Cochran has admitted that he warned Trump about the subpoena from the FBI and that he would have to turn over the documents. And if he didn't, then Mar-a-Lago would be raided. So Trump's previous lie saying he didn't know, they just busted into his place. No. And then an attorney, Evan Corcoran, said that he thought that the files were declassified, but he didn't ask about the process and didn't pay attention to it. And evidently he was reading the files that night because that was the only time he could get his hands on it. So I wonder who else was reading those documents. He also says that he claims that Trump wanted to tell the FBI, just simply tell the FBI that the files weren't there because Trump truly believed that the FBI would just take his word for it and not come looking for the files.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
And yes, this is real life.
Yeah.
This is when I tell y'all, when I read these briefings, when I go back through the transcripts, when I like today, like I told y'all, Fulton County, that judge is letting everything be on full display, cameras in there. There was one period today during the hearing that one of the attorneys wasn't even prepared with their evidence.
Yeah.
Like they're putting no energy and effort into defending their clients. And I'm starting to get the impression that they're just auditioning for Trump. And why they want to audition for Trump, I don't know, because Trump is ruining careers. Well, people are allowing Trump to ruin their careers left and right. And they're not even getting paid.
Yeah.
Jenna Ellis is all over Twitter begging for change. Rudy Giuliani is about to have a smelly, stanky dinner at Mar-a-Lago. And before y'all go, Taz, you're being rude. No. People who have paid good hard money said that Mar-a-Lago smells and stinks. We went over it before on this podcast. And if you decide to get married at Mar-a-Lago, Trump is going to bust your reception. It's documented.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm just like,
yeah, and good comes. You either end up in jail, you get disbarred if you're a lawyer, you don't get paid, and your name, your credibility in that profession is tarnished, like gone. So what notoriety are you looking for? And that's why he's looking at the barrel and looking at the bottom for somebody that wants to make a name for themselves. But you got nothing to work with. You have no, you have a client that opens his mouth at every turn. You can't control your client. So it's out there. Are we surprised? No.
Cheeseburro's attorney, I think he's pushing for his antics to create a mistrial, but that just puts his whole putting in a brief for a speedy trial, if he forces a mistrial, he now gets lumped back in with everybody else. And one thing you have to realize that RICO charges in Georgia, all of the evidence is going to be attached to all 19 of them. It's not like if Chris and I go rob a bank, but I shoot the security guard and Chris doesn't. So I would be the one, right? I would be the one charged with shooting the security guard. Chris would just be charged with robbing a bank. In a RICO case, everybody gets charged. All of the evidence hits everybody.
Yeah.
So if Cheeseborough gets linked in with everybody else, it's not looking good for anybody. Between the audio recordings that have already been linked and the fact that Trump's ego had him wanting to be portrayed in a favorable light to all of these books that have now come out, he allowed famed writers to be around him with recording devices. Documentaries were being filmed with video. Like, there are a lot of things that were supposed to come out after the Trump administration. Just like you remember after Obama's final term, there was a big coffee table book that came out from his official photographer. We haven't gotten that from Trump because all of that is now evidence. This fool had somebody, he basically traveled with court reporters.
Yeah.
I would not be playing. I would be just like the IT guy. What you want to know? What you want to know? You wouldn't even have to do me like the first 48. You ain't got to go get me nothing to eat. I don't need a soda. What you want to know? You want me to draw you a map?
Yeah. I mean,
so, and I mean, like, separating the trials, because some people are like, oh, that's a smart move. No, it's not. You're getting hit with the same evidence. You're getting hit with the same evidence. The same witnesses are coming in to testify that you were in on this.
Your best move is
this was the end goal. And this is how all of y'all work together. And what's funny is Cheeseborough's attorney was trying to take jabs at Fonnie Willis's record, saying that, oh, you know, there's another big RICO case and it involves rap artists and they have nothing in common. But, and here's the but, they're all under the same record label. So they're employees at the same company.
Right.
They're co-workers.
Right. Just like.
Hence the fact that they would be attached. You get attached at RICO because you're working towards a singular goal. You're part of it.
Criminal enterprise of Trump mafia.
And here's the other thing. I know I don't talk about Melania much, and it's because most of what was going on with Melania and her disdain for the United States, period, already came out during the Trump presidency.
Yeah.
But we also have to remember her chief of staff has been subpoenaed. Her former personal assistant that she decided not to pay and be rude to all of a sudden has been subpoenaed. Her phone records and email records have been subpoenaed because, remember, she was being recorded also. And the Trump family as a whole is stupid. Okay. One thing my parents drilled into me: never be rude to anybody that's dealing with your money or your food. And if they can affect either one of them, don't be disrespectful. When she was disrespectful to her former assistant, that woman was like, oh, you're going to be rude and not pay me? Bet. Remember, you had me recording everything because you wanted to try to extort your husband. Now I got you.
Right.
And people don't even want money from this. Do you know how horrible of a person you have to be for people want to air you out, and they're not even trying to extort you? They're not even coming to you first like, hey, I won't even say nothing if you shoot me a couple million. They just hate you.
Yeah. These, for anyone wanting to get involved in something that going into it, you know, it's criminal. And for you now to be in a position where you have to realize how much is out there. I mean, you can't be blind. I mean, you turn on anything, you'll see evidence left and right. Your best move is to talk. Your best move is to cooperate. You know, if you had nothing to hide, you let it fly. But there's too much out there. Like, there's only so much that can be done without somebody making a deal. And trying to hope for the best. You need to talk, because people are going down.
And depending on the coverage that you watched of when Trump was moving officially out of the White House, depending on what network you were watching, I was watching the BBC because the BBC is messy. Now, I don't like gossip about people's personal life, but I do like some Trump gossip because I can't stand him. So I was watching, and he allowed staffers to walk out the White House with stuff. His official movers walked out the White House with stuff, and he admitted that he put stuff that he wasn't supposed to have in some of those boxes that he took down to Mar-a-Lago. I'm like, bro, plus you're working out of the White House. I wouldn't visit the White House and say certain stuff, okay? It's going to be recorded.
Yeah.
That's like me going to my baby brother's house. There's like 8 minutes from me. I know he has security cameras, okay? I know they're everywhere. I was the one that told him which ones to get and where to put them. And me to just stand in perfect view and throw eggs at his house. And then when he calls me and goes, sis, why you throw eggs at my house? And I go, I don't know. What you talking about? Eggs? Me? Huh? That's Trump right now. Like, bruh, he is more chronicled than the pharaohs.
You're either recorded or you're on video. One or the other, it's sure to pop up. I mean, just if this was anybody else in this walk of life, we wouldn't be having a discussion. Like, a key would have been thrown away, and they would have been like probably in isolation right now somewhere. So yeah, for this many people to just try to claim privilege, or hey, I mean, just the fact that Meadows would come out and talk about not wanting to approach somebody. These are supposed to be advisors. These are supposed to be people that are supposed to be able to come to. I have a boss, and I advise them all the time because I'm trying to protect the company. And if he's going to do something that's borderline, I'm going to say, boss, time out. I think we need to review this before we make anything. That's my job. So advisors, you're paid to make sure that things are done a certain way. And if they're not, your job's to make sure they're not done the wrong way. So if you're scared of the person that you're supposed to be advising, then in what role are you other than I've sworn loyalty and I'll do what he says?
And here's the thing. I'm not a large woman, okay? I'm all of 5'4.5". Okay, y'all don't forget my half, okay? I'm just now touching the tip of 130 pounds, okay? I've been waiting a while to touch that tip. I'm not afraid of Trump. I wish I would be facing charges and look a judge in the face and go, I did it because I was afraid he was going to yell at me.
Yeah. Like I said, but this is all that mafia thing.
Plus, all 8 of my brothers would have bust out laughing like, she was afraid of who?
Who am I
yelling at her?
Who am I supposed to approach the Godfather and tell him that you're doing it wrong? We should do it another way. Who am I to tell the Godfather we should do it another way? That's the mentality. Like, they're scared. Like,
first of all of us born in the 70s and 80s, getting yelled at was like getting a snack on a Saturday afternoon. We don't care.
Right.
You ain't hitting me. You yelling?
Nobody is in their role with Trump. Number one, when you're hired, is will you support everything I say and do? And will you defend me if you're approached about me? I mean, these are some of the things that go through the hiring process under somebody like Donald. It is not so much, hey, are you qualified? Let's look at your resume. Let's know you've done some good work in the past. No, it starts with loyalty and given sworn oath to protect this man in public by all means. I mean, you can see what the whole party's done. I mean, it's that oath is taking on a whole party. So
And
I don't
what
know why
breaks my
more people
heart
aren't
is
trying to make a
Malcolm.
deal. I don't know if people are talking behind closed doors or trying to make a deal or whatever, but that would be the smartest move. If you know there's a whole lot coming down the highway and it smells pretty bad for you and everyone else, I'm looking to make a deal. I'm not falling for this guy who's thrown
Here's the
everyone
thing,
else under the bus.
in the New York case, let us not forget. And see, this was when I thought it was going to be a big turning point for everybody else. When
Mm-hmm.
Ivanka Trump petitioned the court and said, hey, yeah, there's some fraudulent business dealings. It ain't had nothing to do with me. It was my dad and my brothers. Take me off this case. I
Mm-hmm.
figured everybody else would jump ship because Ivanka has been so loyal to her father, in spite of her mother, rest
Mm-hmm.
in peace, Ivana, being the real business-minded one. Because let's get into some Trump history right now.
She's on the 18th hole.
Yeah, Trump's money and Trump's disdain for women comes from the fact that his family money would not exist if it wasn't for women. And for those of y'all that don't understand, let me break it down. Now, Trump's granddaddy,
Mm-hmm.
once he finally got kicked out from Germany, and they was like, don't come back. We don't care. He was embarrassed. So he's like, I need to change this name from Drumpf to Trump because Drumpf is tainted. Yeah, you
Yeah.
just don't know how tainted
Yeah.
your gene pool about to be. So he
Mm-hmm.
decided to buy up some land. Now, during the gold rush, he was like, oh, I know how to make some money out here. I can put up brothels. Now, keep in mind, during the gold rush, there was also the silver rush that was going on. And buildings weren't exactly buildings as they portrayed them in movies and what you think of now, because they would take shipwrecked boats and turn them into buildings on the shore. And a lot of brothels were actually repurposed ships. So think of it like that. So when I say he was buying up land, he wasn't buying acres on acres on acres during the gold rush. So he took that money and decided, oh, I'm going to start getting some plots of land. But he wasn't doing anything with the plots of land. He just thought, oh, this is a status symbol. I don't look like a rich person, but I can feel like a rich person because I got this land. Sound familiar with how Trump works now? Well, then he passed away of pneumonia. Ironic, since Trump was making fun of Hillary for having pneumonia and living. And then his grandma was like, what am I going to do with this land? You know what? I'm going to put some stuff on the land, but I ain't going to sell it to nobody. I'm going to rent it. That way we can just keep having money come in. And then she was like, wait a minute. There's this new thing called the washing machine. And everybody don't have room for it in their house because it's new and wasn't nobody thinking about being able to put it in the house at the time. So they got these laundromats, and that seemed to be making some people some money. Let me open up a laundromat. And that's what she did.
Mm-hmm.
And then when her sons started to get older, she incorporated her sons into the business and taught them these things. Like, hey, buy up the property, buy up the land, put something on it. Never sell it. Just keep getting the residual income. And that's when it was Mary, Trump, and Sons. And then his father came in, Fred Sr. Came in and was like, okay, but then he got the big head. He wanted to be around the socialites in New York. Why? Because he discovered prosperity preachers. Now, he wasn't a go every Sunday type of person. He went around the time that he put in a bid for a government contract. Because when he discovered Section 8 for rich people, he took full advantage of it, okay? He was the OG welfare queen. And then his oldest son, that he treated like shit, just like the rest of the kids, was like, I really want to be a pilot, and I really just want to have my own family, and I don't want to be as toxic as you are, because I don't want my kids to grow up fucked up. Okay, look at me, look at my siblings. We pretty fucked up. So let me just go off and do my thing. And the father was like, oh, yeah, sure, you can do your thing. I'm going to put you in this apartment that I got. And his father was a slumlord to his own child, trying to force him to work for the company, which caused a lot of medical issues and exacerbated things and caused him to drink even more. And then Fred died. Then Trump came along, because people don't realize that Fred Sr. was not good at public speaking. All right. Wasn't good at all. Think Moses. All right. Think Moses and Abraham just couldn't get it together. Didn't want to talk in public, but needed the deals. And Trump was like, oh, daddy can pay attention to me now. I got the silver tongue. I'll do this, that, and the other. So they brought up some property that they weren't supposed to buy up. And then they decided to have a demolition party because the neighborhood was trying to rally against them and petition to keep it. So Trump was like, no, we'll sell tickets. We'll let people come out with the sledgehammers and we'll tear it up and make it a community event. And they're not going to, protest their own people. And we'll just smack Trump all over the place. And his father was like, branding, that's a good deal. And that's when the company slowly moved away from real estate, even though Trump always called himself a real estate mogul, into branding. Trump has never been into real estate. He's always been into branding. Then his father was like, okay, you got this. You seem to be doing all right. They go through a couple of lawsuits, but then his father was like, I really want to retire. Your mama said I finally got to look at her ass and not just to try to get a son out that was worth something. She ugly, I'm ugly, but we're going to be ugly in retirement together. So they hand over the company to Trump. Yeah. Now, the company was supposed to be split between the siblings. And Trump was like, yeah, mama and daddy, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm going to keep it like that. Trump was messing up everything. Trump went bankrupt with having casinos because the house never loses unless the house is owned by Trump. And then you had Trump water, Trump steaks, Trump magazine, all this shit that was just failing because he wanted to put his name all over everything because he wanted to hobnob with the elite and the intellectuals where he never was one. Y'all, he didn't even do his own homework. He didn't do his own classwork. He didn't do shit, okay? Past basic reading, he was over with. Then mama and daddy died, okay? They dead. They ugly death. Take it how you will. Trump decides he's going to sue the estate and sue his nieces and nephews and surviving siblings and go, but Taz, didn't he hold a funeral for his one brother at the White House when he was in the office? The fuck else was he going to do for aesthetics, people? Pay attention. Let's keep going. So he gets everything, but he does not want anybody to know that women had anything to do with his business practices. And that was part of the reason why he was a little jealous about Ivana, but we'll have to talk about him and Ivana on another day. So he gets it. He decides to make it Trump Organization. And the only way he can feel like and look like the big man is to groom his 3 eldest children, because we know he don't care about the rest of them, into being on the board because they're going to tell him he's so great. But nobody was really believing that he was great. And then comes along reality TV. And then you have The Apprentice and then Celebrity Apprentice. And he looks so great and he has this elegant, lavish boardroom. Nothing about Trump is ever elegant and lavish. Just imagine somebody who's about that trailer park life. And y'all know what I mean when I say about that trailer park life. You give them $1 million. You ain't going to never take that trailer park out of them. They're going to turn every place that they go into a trailer park. That is Trump. So when Apprentice came along, they had to build a set. That boardroom that y'all see is not the boardroom of Trump Towers. It looked like shit. They had to build a set. And he came up with the tagline, "You're fired," because Trump had never fired anybody in his life. Trump is a big bitch. He surrounds himself with people who are actually going to do the bravado and all of the hard work for him. He had never actually been the boss. And bada bing, bada boom, you're caught up on Trump.
Plus, a side note, he's Mr. Bone Spurs.
Oh, yeah.
You did it good.
We'll have to do that recap.
That took a lot of highlights. People don't realize it takes a lot of highlights and books, literally, for this young lady here to dive into. And when I say dive into, we're in the deep end of the pool, not the shallow end.
I do go deep into Trump because he pissed me off. I don't even know what he did that made me go find every book I could on him.
It befuddles us because we know Mary Trump. We know that her mom does not publicly come out and make statements against Donald and do this and that. Beyond me. It's not like she was really treated well, but it's beyond me. Other than Mary, who's well-to-do, this is not some, idiot, niece somewhere. She is very much intelligent. I mean, she's very successful in her own right.
She is everything that Trump wanted to be.
Yeah.
But
Trump has other people do the dirty work. And if he needs to move ahead or pass something, it's always a shortcut taken by somebody else making it happen for him. Look at Wharton. Everyone he goes around talking about Wharton. And we know good and well if you were to dive into the backlogs of Wharton and find out what he really did and things like that, it wouldn't be something.
Let's not forget the Wharton letter that came out when Wharton. So I still have a copy of that letter. It's probably on another computer.
It's somewhere.
Where Wharton came out and was like, Donald Trump, quit telling people you went here. Like, you were the worst student we ever had.
Yeah.
Just, we don't know you.
Yeah.
And see, it's funny when that letter came out, and Chris can tell you this, for years, I've had this joke with alumni of mine from high school all the way through college and family members where they'll say something crazy and I'll look at them and I'll be like, you know what, for the next week, don't tell people we went to the same school or don't tell people we're in the same family. Like, as a joke, they legitimately was for real. Like, stationary, stamped, signed by the president of the, do you know how quickly I would disappear off the face of the earth if either of the colleges I attended put out a letter and was like, Taz, don't tell nobody you went here. We don't know who this.
Like, but I'm a Bearcat. I'm a Bearcat.
When I tell, I would cry.
Yes.
Especially since at one of the schools, as a Bearcat, I'm a legacy.
They'd be like,
student. Do you know how
they'd be like, you are in the Commonwealth.
My mama would come up out the grave and be like, how you fucked that up? And I know my daughter would pick up her degree and come over and smack me in the head with it like, ma'am. But since we're talking about getting easy rides, this is a good segue.
SpaceX? Oh, no.
No, because anytime I get a chance to pick on Duke, I'm gonna pick on Duke University because I don't like Duke University. I don't like anything about Duke University. Okay,
and I don't
like nothing about Duke University. Okay, all right, okay. I don't. We can get into the history of Duke later, but
there's the Duke name is all
the
over
QB. The QB.
Our power company here in this area in Charlotte area is called Duke.
Yeah, ours is too, Duke, and I can't stand that Duke either. Okay.
Yeah.
I got a cousin that works for that power company. I love you, cuz I don't like the company, but you about to retire anyway because you're like 150 years old. I love you though. You cute. I better quit talking shit about that particular cousin because our birthdays are like a day apart. So that might be like
the Commonwealth is listening.
Nah, he across the river. He ain't gonna come over here. He said there's too many white people over here for him.
In the Commonwealth, they're making new skin suits.
Yeah. No, we do have Daniel Cameron, and right now Mitch McConnell and Rand Paul are arguing, and I'm like, Rand, your office just burnt down. Why don't you handle that?
Where did Daniel get his suit from? They got a connection from somebody took a ride on SpaceX. Half off.
Well, it's still only 5 people going up for Cameron stuff. But y'all take a look at this video. It's about 1 minute and 7 seconds. So we'll see you in 2 and 2, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
By now, we've all seen this viral clip of Duke QB Riley Leonard after their win against Clemson.
Professor Taylor, if you're seeing this, please let me turn in my homework late because it's due tonight, I think at 12, so it may already be 12.
So Professor Donald Taylor, I'm surprised it took me like only 5 seconds to find him, has responded to the video that's been directed towards him.
Hey Riley, great game last night, man. It was so exciting. Congratulations to you and all your teammates. But you know, Wesley Williams and the other linemen who were in the class, they said they prepared ahead and did it ahead of time, so why didn't the quarterback? So no way, man. No extension.
Personally, I think it's a joke just to save face from any like favoritism allegations, but Buddy might want to tell the other Duke students that because homie is getting cooked on Rate My Professor. But if this isn't a joke and Riley is really gonna get a 0 on that paper, Buddy's grade in that class is cooked. Because for most schools, they're only in like their 2nd or 3rd week of the fall semester, so that means there's not a lot of grades in the grade book right now. So man, his grade is just
You can go to Wharton.
How do you get through all of his? Let me say this real quick because this is what pisses me off. In your first semester of college, you're still on that high school time, that high school schedule. You're still on that, come home, do your homework, What the fuck was you doing all these years, my boy? You've been an athlete for years at this point. You probably started sports before you started school. As an athlete and a sister of athletes and a former coach, how you not getting your work done? And people in the comments section, like, because somebody was like, okay, if he can't do the work, he doesn't need to be there. And people like, but you have to understand, he got a scholarship to play football at a college. At a college, Clara.
Yeah, we got a student athlete. Yeah, he's been talking to Levis. Remember him?
And it's like and then you're gonna say on camera, hey, I know my work is due tonight at midnight.
Yeah.
You get a syllabus on the first day. Actually, it was the first day of class way back when, before we had the internet the way that we had it now. As my baby child is the last one still in school. Okay, there's 4 of them. 1 of me, 4 of them. I know, shocking. We share a face.
And a puppers.
Yeah, and a puppers and attitude. Because sometimes I look at them like, I would cuss you out, but it would feel like I'm cussing myself out, so I'm not going to. He got his syllabus. Actually, he got all of his syllabi before the first day of class. So you've already known about this. You've already known the deadlines. Winning the game does not get.
Right.
You better hope you get drafted.
He was that full of himself, because that in this state, we look at the mentality of people that go to Duke. And Duke is one of those schools. I know they have a big medical program and all that. It's a school that has more out of state, more international, more non-in-state students. Yeah, it's a school in its own. At least that's the way in this state it's looked at. So yeah, it takes a special individual to like Duke. Not that I'm a big Clemson fan either, so don't get me wrong. I really didn't care about that game because I have my own feelings about the Clemson coach about certain things. So yeah, it's not just that he's taking a stance against the portal. He said, I refuse to give in to the portal and capitalize on this. You see what your team's doing, don't you?
Yeah. You know what, y'all? There are teams we actually like. I know some people that tune in every Wednesday and are like, do these two like any teams? We do.
Oh, yeah.
We
do.
It's just the ones that are currently in the news.
Yeah. There's issues with stances that certain coaches make or players. There's just things that don't rub some people the wrong way because they're looking at the team. I'm looking at, but if it doesn't sound right, it's not right. Like, I'm not going to back somebody who's on the wrong side of common sense or decency.
Yeah.
I mean,
just like, okay, I'm not a Washington fan, but I'm not anti the Washington. I'm just going to say football team because I can't stand that y'all are still called the Commanders. And we know the resident ginger is a huge Washington fan. Okay. Now, we both agree that there's a period of time that it was very, very, very hard to root for Washington because of its previous owner. We didn't hate the team. We hated him.
2 decades of being hard.
Yeah, we hated him. We
But
hated the owner. Like, he could catch them hands on sight.
Yeah. I'm loyal to the team, but in unison, we all dislike the owner.
Yeah, like, I can't stand the owner. Well, I shouldn't have said that way as a Black woman. I didn't mean like my owner. I meant the owner of the Bengals.
But in Cincy, you had a streak of a drought, and you knew a lot of it came with, let's just say, lack of spending.
Okay,
and hanging in there with people too long. You hung in there with a quarterback too long, a coach too long. You've hung in there with some things. We did too.
First of all, I'm still pissed. I'm still holding on and pissed.
To Marvin?
Pissed off about Akili.
Oh.
Why?
And
my feelings are still hurt. Hoosh, come home, Hoosh. Come on home.
But my thing was with the Bengals, you had a receiver who spent all his years on a lackluster team, literally gave his all. Now he started to get injury prone every year. He never got to experience a winning team, like a good team, and by the time he was bouncing around, he was injury prone. Like he couldn't stay healthy. AJ Green. He was a good talent, and he just burned out on a team that really went nowhere.
And what's funny is I can tell you how many times people would
And now
approach
he
my
retired.
oldest son. No, people would approach my oldest son thinking he was AJ Green, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no,
But-
he's just a thorn in my side. It's okay.
But it was unfortunate. Now he wasn't, necessarily, I don't think to the Chad level or to something else level, but he was coming in. He was like probably the next best thing that was coming, and he had the ginger quarterback, and they didn't have a lot else. And once injuries pile up, it kind of you kind of get stuck in that rut of
every ginger ain't great.
No.
But speaking of the portal, it is amazing what a win or two can do, because previously a certain team said they didn't have a budget for the man, the myth, the legend, Deion Sanders.
Prime
Now
time.
they got a budget. Y'all take a look.
I'm going to say the quiet part out loud, man, because nobody's really saying. You could hear it on the tip of people's tongues, but nobody's really saying it. So I'll say it, whatever. Deion Sanders is a problem because this was always the concern. As soon as they started letting black athletes into sports here in America, which crazy, that was only in the 50s, right? Yo. One day, black athletes would want to play sports for black coaches. And they've been fighting that and underfunding the HBCUs and all that. They've been fighting it for years, kid. And they elevated a couple of coaches who kept the good old boy network going. They was not prepared for this dude, man. Because football knowledge and all that, coaches are coaches, a coach is a coach. But having kids come in who would run through a brick wall for you before they even get there, you can't replicate that. You can't. And Deion's a problem because Deion is cool. Like, not Arthur Fonzarelli cool. He's like Rakim KRS-One, chains on his chest, cool. You're not going to get that in the suburbs, fam. You're just not going to get that anywhere else in relation to.
And he's right.
And
No other coach is going to be as relatable to the players as Deion Sanders.
yeah, those on the right are going to hate that. But the bonus to him being in Boulder, and I know because my sister lives outside of Boulder, very liberal. And I'm sure in Boulder, they're living it to the T. Outside of Boulder, oh, you kidding me? It's like the right.
Mm-hmm.
So Colorado is very funny in their political
And they're
views.
hating the fact that Deion Sanders is teaching minority students about the portal.
Right.
Because before the portal, it was just for the white athlete. And I remember a friend of one of my brothers. He was on a team, basketball, and he was wondering, like, he had some friends on the football team, and he was like, okay, wait a minute, you got a scholarship here. How you leaving and going? Like, how are you? And he said they would be so tight-lipped about it. And Deion is like, no, you're not stuck. You have options.
Yeah.
You have options and play on those options. If they're not going to take care of you, go get those. Make sure you get drafted.
The portal is in college basketball the one and done idea that if you're not getting playing time, if you don't agree with the coach or getting along, you no longer have to sit out a year, which was a deterrent for a lot of athletes to sit out and lose out basically, on your youth athleticism, by missing a year. But the one and done now for the portal creates hardships for people like Nick Saban or people that have already established their program as, we are a winning program. We don't really need to recruit you. You're trying to beg to come here. Now it's like, well, if you're that stacked and loaded, I don't know if I'm going to get playing time. So I'm going over here where it looks like it's fun to play. It's cool to play. I got a coach who's backing me up. He's sitting there talking to the media, throwing receipts in their faces. Why wouldn't I want to go there? So they're utilizing it the same way that, bringing up the Commonwealth, they did in Lexington, Mr. One and Done. That's where the land of Mr. One and Done lived on, bringing people in saying, look, you give me one good year, this is where you're headed. I'm just your stepping stone to get there because the rules say you got to at least play a year. So he had no problem in Lexington bringing in guys. So on the football level, yeah.
And see, Deion Sanders is also a threat because he's going to also make sure his players get an education. They understand their contracts. They understand longevity, and not necessarily longevity on the field. Because Deion Sanders is one of those anomalies. We have only seen like a Madden who's been able to be in the realm of football for decades, because Deion Sanders is like, okay, when you're done playing, these are the options that you have.
Right.
Start preparing yourself now for these options.
Right.
Because I know I harp on him a lot, but I can't. Okay. We grew up in the same suburb and he still gets on my nerves. Just like somebody should have told that to Barry Larkin. Barry, once again, stop commentating. It's not for you. It is not for you. You don't have a personality for it. Okay. You don't.
But
please.
The thing that the honesty that comes from Deion, and he said this on multiple occasions, when people are like, once you do this, you can translate this to the pros. He is adamant about, I'm not going somewhere where all these men make all this money. My goal is to, shape these boys and get them ready for life. Football, if it's a gift, that next level will come. He doesn't want to take on grown men with contracts and bonuses they're playing, incentives. That is not Deion's goal. He will stay in college until he's done. If he doesn't stay in Colorado, he moves on, so be it. But he is not looking to move on to any next level, no matter the temptation. I don't even think there could be a price tag, just because he's not going to have the effect in a pro locker room that he does with these young boys that are like, I just want to play for Deion. Deion's going to set me up for success.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't I go somewhere where I feel comfortable? I feel in a good environment. He is going to make me work hard, but there's a reason why I have to work hard. Some of these other places, it was more about, hey, you were good in high school. That should just translate to college. Deion saying, every level, you got to work a little harder to maintain that and to go forward. So he's setting people up, whereas he could never do that in the pros. There's just too many dollars floating around in the pros for Deion to have a loud enough voice.
And see, that's what makes for a great coach. When you realize the level that works for you, because we see too many coaches trying to chase a check.
Yeah.
And they get in over their head, because we've seen, coaches try to jump from high school to college. Those are
Yeah.
two different ball games. Yeah, you were winning because you were a small town coach.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to get into cut, and then you see them have horrible records, or you see somebody try to jump from being an assistant collegiate coach into the NFL, and it's like, no, it's okay to know your lane. It is okay to know your lane. Everybody ain't gonna be the Gipper.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
A good example of it.
Everybody loves the movie and the story of Rudy. Rudy knew where his lane was. He was happy with his lane. He took that victory in his lane. If you're gonna sit there and go, Rudy, realize where your Rudy is in life.
Yeah.
Realize where your Rudy is in life.
But like you said, some things don't translate to the next level. We've seen, I know because we had one in Washington with Spurrier, some coaches, even if they have at one point in time played on the next level or been a part of that, their success was in college. Their success was dealing with guys who at the time there was no NIL. These are student athletes. But their goals, everybody's goal is like, hey, if I'm good enough, I want to go pro. Their goal is the next level. Some guys are like, look, this is as far as I'm going. It's up to them to shape these players, and you can't take that, the whole scheme of your coaching to a higher level when you're doing this with young kids. So we've seen, of course, the recent one was Urban Meyer. We've seen Spurrier, and we've seen some others that just didn't succeed at the higher level because they still tried to take a little bit of that college blueprint. And you had pro athletes looking at you like, are you for real? Like, I've been in this league, this NFL for, 8 years, and you're trying to give me this college blueprint? Like, no.
Mm-hmm. I think the perfect example, and I know this is going to take some people by left field, but a perfect example is Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Many people don't know that he's been a Pee Wee football coach for years, and that's his lane, and he's successful at it.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I know the ins and outs of this level. I can teach them great, and we can be successful. And you would think somebody who's been so accustomed to the spotlight so much in their life, just like Deion Sanders, 2 sports down, reality shows, commentating, all of these things. People would think on paper he's going for the glitz and glamour. No, he knows his lane, and it's okay to know your lane.
Right. Exactly. Now, not everybody can do that. It's rare to get a former athlete be successful either in a front office or on the sidelines. It's rare to have that.
It's like Magic Johnson. You won't see him coaching, but you'll see him.
Look at Charlotte. We had Jordan, and the Hornets are still the Hornets. Like, we never had success here in Charlotte with the basketball team. And yes, he did recently sell, but yeah, it doesn't always work. Their intentions may be there, but their intensity that they had when they were a player isn't the same intensity you can use in a corporate office, a corporate setting, or on the sidelines where you're trying to get other people to basically play at a level where you were. I mean, it would be like, some players are just that intense. Like Kobe was that intense. You get players that are very intense when they played. That's not always going to translate and expect a room full of people to be that intense.
And not everybody is made to coach. Now, during my coaching day, there were people that I was on teams with that decided, their child got into that same sport, they're going to coach. And sometimes it just doesn't work. Sometimes it doesn't work. And sometimes, I shouldn't say sometimes, all the time, if you're going to coach, make sure it's what you want to do. Parents, please, for the love of all things, stop getting into coaching because your child is on the team. That dynamic does not always work, okay? Your kids ain't Venus and Serena, all right? They may not separate, mom and dad from coach such and such. And when they don't separate it, you're going to lose control of the team because their attitude and how they deal with you is going to trickle down in the team. And also, you may not have been the greatest athlete that you think you were in your head.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're a good athlete without a true understanding of the sport that you participated in. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not being disrespectful, but it is the truth. There are a lot of people who play sports that do not understand and cannot put together plays, cannot put together anything. All they know how to do is take direction. It's just like when you see people who are on nationally ranked dance squads, but they can't dance at a party. They're used to somebody else putting the choreography together for them.
Right.
And you have to realize your strengths and your weaknesses. Like when I coach cheer, I coach it with my older cousin. I had my strengths in stunts and coordinating and putting together routines. She had her strengths in creating cheers and encouraging the girls that way. And I'm very technical. We worked well together.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a cheerleader. Neither one of my daughters wanted to be in cheer. Basketball, volleyball, yes. And there was some coaching there too. But stop doing it because you think it's going to be cute because you're going to be in the picture with them. Hell no. Some of y'all just suck. And you're making your kids suck. And some of y'all need to realize you don't need to buy all the expensive stuff for your kid. Because Bobby is horrible, okay? Bobby is just having fun right now. Bobby wants something to put on his college application. He ain't making it to the NFL. He ain't making it to the NHL. He's not making it to the MLB. None of that, okay? Bobby got 2 left feet, and they turned around backwards. Stop. And stop inviting us to the damn games. He can't even ride the bench right.
Let him sit in a broadcast with Larkin.
No, but Larkin needs to get out. I swear for God. I swear. And you know what? I called my stepmother to see if she wanted to go to a game with me, and she was like, "You want to go to the game because you want to get tickets near the box so you can heckle." Yes, I do.
Oh, some athletes, like I said, when they move on, I'm like, Larkin, just go sell some cars. Don't get in the booth. No,
I promise. And like I said, I know I'm used to Marty Brenneman and Joe Nuxall. Okay, grew up on them with baseball. I know that. Okay, but I'm cool with other people commentating.
Yeah, some can.
Next time he does it, I'm going to record it so I can show y'all. Because Barry Larkin, retired from the Reds, son of a retired Reds player, friends with baseball players, was sitting there like this. And yeah, it looks like we have a break in the game. Oh, yeah, they're coming back out. Oh, yeah, looks like it might be a little rain. What? Dude, this is your team. Tell a story in the in-between time. Put some pep in your voice. We got a firecracker on the team this year. Okay, we got the fritos on the damn team. We can finally be proud about something in Cincinnati. And you're just sitting there like you're at a damn funeral.
You need a Deion announcing the game. Somebody with some personality, I'm gonna start
doing the games. That's what I should do that.
I told you they just need to just let Hoosh announce Reds game. Yeah, he was a football player. More personality.
I know someone who works at the stadium and works for I wonder. You know what? They do not trust me with a microphone. They shouldn't. They should not.
Probably not.
They should not. If I could slip the footage away from my aunt from her wedding reception, where they gave me the mic to tell people like when to go get in line for the buffet, you would understand why nobody really trusts me.
Maybe you could be on call. I don't know.
Like I'm no longer allowed to introduce Dad at his pastoral anniversaries after this year. Yeah.
Could you do the Who Day for the Bengals then? Could you do the something Welcome to the Jungle? I mean, could you do?
Well, I could. I actually, it wasn't at the stadium, but it was at like the official sports bar for the Bengals. I did get to do the play-by-play with a good family friend. The one who wrote the Who Day song. So I did get. Everybody liked it.
Was it a
Okay,
boomer
if you
bar?
all ever watch me do the political play-by-play for the debates, that is me, but with sports. And when I do sports, I generally have, like, Chris knows this, a variety of French fries.
French fries?
As I'm commentating.
Yeah, buffet. A French fry
I do.
buffet.
And it's not just like when I say I'm going to get French fries, he can tell you. I'm not just going to get like, oh, one type of French fry.
Yeah.
It is an array. Okay.
Well, gourmet and sometimes bougie fries.
Yeah.
Because they're not offered everywhere. But yeah, we need to have those in like the Boomer Bar. Bring on old University of Maryland Terrapin, Esiason.
Well, I think
Doesn't he still have some in Cincy?
yeah.
Oh.
I think is it Tuesday? I think it's this Tuesday coming up. We do have a new restaurant that's owned by a Bengals player that I'll be going to check out. Evidently, they put lemon in everything. Player? No, current player.
Ooh. Somebody from the state of Louisiana that played. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know which player.
You don't know which player? Maybe
I was not told. Okay. My siblings told me that it is a surprise. So
Joe could have one. Mr. Ohio bar, because Joe was Mr. Ohio at one time.
So yeah, if I don't like it, I will go to my truffle fry place and get my truffle fries.
Truffle fries. Everybody, if you've never been introduced to truffle fries, good luck finding them. They're not offered everywhere.
They are. I always seem to find them. I always seem to find them. It's just like I have truffle fries.
You're going outside the Commonwealth to find those? They're not the bluegrass fries.
No, that and well, I'm not far from a lot of Guy Fieri restaurants, so I have that plus.
Yeah, they haven't all been successful though.
They're like
not all the Guy's stuff has been successful.
Well, Spectre, they're like these. They're extra crispy fries, and then they shave truffles, which over them. They're really good. Now, truffles do have a very distinct taste, so if you're not for
anyone doesn't know where truffles come from, they're not grown in every place.
No, you got to dig them out.
They're in the woods.
Yeah, you gotta go hunting for them and dig them out. Y'all will have to look that up yourselves. I'm not saying that here.
And there was a movie about a pig that found truffles. So if you really saw the movie Pig with Nicolas Cage, you know all about truffles.
Yeah. Yes, especially with garlic. Yes, Miss Arena. They're really good.
Yes.
My new obsession is
chili fries.
Truffle mac and cheese with sauteed shrimp.
Mac and cheese fries?
No, I haven't tried the mac and cheese fries yet.
Yeah. Or Old Reliable, you can get the little Mexicano fries, where they put basically the stuff that you would put on the street corn. There's all sorts of things.
From, the food truck that it's now every 3 weeks they come up the street to the parking lot up by me, so I get those from that place. And then what were the other fries? The Korean barbecue fries.
Oh, the like kimchi on it. Kimchi fries. Yeah, it got a little bite to it. If you like your fermented stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but yes, I do get the street fries from the food trunk. with a side of elotes, because you got to have elotes.
Elote. Anybody that doesn't know elote, that's corn, people. Corn.
You got you got and you know when it's like fresh, like they just made it, you can't help it because you'll be like, no,
they just put it into the mix with the the flavoring, and see, it's muy rico, muy rico.
Yes. All right. As always, great. Your final thoughts?
Yeah. Speaking of this week starting football, I was very happy to see that our opening game is sold out, and it looks like it's all local fans that are selling it out, which
yes.
A while. I know there's still news, which I know we've kind of tapped into before about, and we're always going to hear this until there is a new name, that the new owner and everyone, even the president of their operations, is coming out publicly stating that there are no intentions of anybody bringing up the old name as far as going back to the old name, but we are moving in a new direction. They've just done upgrades on the stadium, which, okay, whatever that means. But yeah, I'm happy to see that fans are back, about to get started with football. I know everyone's happy unless you have a really bad team in your city. But yeah, I'm just excited for a new season and a new vibe for my team. So enjoy some football if you like it. If not, check out some streaming stuff. Because, if you don't know Star Wars, it's still on Disney. We got something new on there that, it's kind of got mixed reviews, but I've been following it. So far I'm okay. So we'll see.
And if you don't like either and you're a fan of hockey, be prepared. We are getting professional women's hockey. Woo-hoo!
In the Commonwealth?
Oh no, not in the Commonwealth, but in the United States. I wish. I wish. I absolutely I love hockey. So
the Cameron girls.
All I know is when that campaign schedule comes out, you know what? After I figure out how much it costs to get my brace fixed, I'm gonna get a GoPro, because between Vivek, Ramaswamy, and Daniel, I'm taking some day trips. Okay, I'm going just to heckle Daniel. Okay,
the Swami.
Yeah,
the Swami. I've never seen.
As Tupper said, Vivek Rama, wash your ass.
Yes, because he's had his nose and face all up in someone's rear end. Ugh. It's just so Mar-a-Lago. Ooh, it's smelly.
If you like stinky places and toilets breaking.
Yeah. When the plumbing breaks, that is the eau de lago.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry with that
thought.
Oh, I spoke too soon. He done got his leash and went to the door. All right. For anybody who tuned in last night, I do have the full breakdown regarding the discussion that the students had about the Confederacy and First Amendment. It's an hour and 8 minutes long, but it is linked here, or you can just find it on this profile. And there are other links down below. I can't remember all of them because y'all know, spicy brain. But as always, thank you all for watching. And each one teach one, each one reach one. Till next time, y'all.